Welcome to my Patreon page. I've never done a video like this before, talking about my Patreon. And when I first started, I had some patron who was paying me $65 a month, and I don't know who it was. And I was new to Patreon, and I thought it was going to be easy, and that I was just going to have that Patreon. He was there for like 8 months supporting me, and then I didn't do a lot of content on Patreon because I didn't know you had to, and sadly the guy eventually left, and that is sad. So since that time I had to rethink what I was doing here, and I haven't had as good a patron since. Well, I have a couple of good people actually, so we're gonna go through this. Alright, so my name's David Lovins. I'm creating art, drawings, comic books, Dungeons and Dragons stuff, etc. Patreon.com/David Lovins. Okay. So, if you're not on Patreon and you want to get on it, well, some people say that you should have an audience, that it's pointless to do Patreon if you don't have a big audience, because you're only going to get one patron out of 1,000 people if you're lucky. Some people have 100 patrons and they pay anywhere from $1 to $5 to $10 a month, however you set it. So I'm making this video to see if I can also help people with their Patreon page. That's my service. Okay, had I known about Patreon early on, it would have been really helpful. I got in late, and I only found out about it because of people on YouTube. No one told me to go on to Patreon, and I didn't take it seriously, because why in hell would anyone give money to artists and creative people? Why would anyone in their right mind support people such as myself? I don't know. There's no reason. So I was just trying to sell art, and I still sell once in a while off of Fine Art America and Zazzle.com, but it's not enough to live on. But there are some people who make a living off of Fine Art America, and there are some people who make a living off of Patreon. So that's what we're interested in. So I'm getting $15 a month. I have 4 people, and 3 of them are paid. Okay, so that's a good start. And despite me talking about this on YouTube, I haven't had anybody get on here, even for free. So what I've been doing lately in the last 6 months is just putting all my content up for free, hoping that I would get some free subscribers. But that didn't happen, so I have to make this video to let people know I even have a Patreon page. And I've tried my trick where I subscribe to other people here, but no one's returned the favor. Okay, but that trick works on Instagram and YouTube and DeviantArt. You just sub to everybody and eventually somebody will sub back. So let's go through my entries. Alright, recent posts. My Fine Art America page and a painting session. So sometimes I post my own videos and write about them a little bit. And it kind of bums me out to write a lot if no one's gonna read them. If no one reads what I write, what's the point? PewDiePie's recent video. I like this video a lot. I'm a fan of PewDiePie, aka Felix. This is a cute video and worth watching. He's got his wife, his kid, and his dogs. He's decided to live in Japan for a while. He's got 110 million subscribers and seems unchanged by fame. He's still himself and he is still funny when he wants to be. At one point he only had 100 subscribers. Even at that point he gave it everything he had and was just himself. He's my hero on one level. Yeah, he's my hero. Because he didn't change. He just lived his life and made videos. Did what he wanted to do. Which is what I do. I'm just not as successful as him. Well, he's funny. That goes a long way. He has a personality. And he's good at Call of Duty and playing video games. And he's into anime. And he's Swedish. Saturday noontime art session, March 15th, 2025. So what I want to do on this page is really put in more of my artwork. That's going to take a while. My new art table setup. Okay. Showing me paint. That's my brother. He comments on my Patreon page. Okay. But he's a supporter. So, what can I say? Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. So, some of these articles go on longer than what is shown here. Star Wars 4, A New Hope audiobook. So one of my things as an artist is to comment and critique culture. By the way, this is a really great audiobook. It's written by Alan Dean Foster, even though George Lucas took the credit for it. But Alan Dean Foster's name was not on the cover. So he got burned on that one. I like Alan Dean Foster's work. I grew up reading it. He was the guy who would write the novels about movies. And it was really fun. You'd go see a movie and then you'd read the book based on it. Tips to avoid phishing, brought to you by Panda. That's my antivirus program. The Hobbit audiobook. That's really good. And you can hear what the movies were supposed to be like. But for some reason, the Hollywood people had to do their own thing. Oh, I want to comment. Now, somebody out there has got to take this Hobbit audiobook, or one of them that's out there, and to read it takes 8 hours. And there's some really good readings. I prefer a British reader. And then someone needs to go in there and fill that 8 hours with photographs, scenes from the movie, and some AI photos and videos that correspond with the audiobook. So then you'd have a proper version of The Hobbit. You'd have the audiobook and you'd have corresponding visuals. I'd kill to see that. So someone with a good computer would have to go in and fill up all 8 hours. I pray someone does that. I'd kill to see it. Because the book is really good. It's one of my favorite books. It just needs some visual companionship. I've been a Beatles fan since high school. Paul decided he wanted to be a Beatle again in 2017. And he did a set of all Beatles songs with his very competent band. The Beatles live in Australia, 1964. Now the cool thing about stuff like this is, what I want to do some more of, is you watch the video and then you pause it and you can take pictures from the video of little moments that just go by so fast. But you can really get some good things. I've done this with movies, and it makes you see the movie or video in a new way with just still photography from a video. I will work on that a little bit. In Search of the Unknown, which is available as a PDF file for free. So all the good stuff that's for free, I like posting it on the Patron. And these are pictures of the keep on the Borderlands, areas of the keep. Every D&D person knows about Keep on the Borderlands. And I just took pictures of the module. And what I did is I copy and pasted the text from the module, because it's really hard to read and to reference. So now I can read it. In the module, it has 2 columns, and now I put the text into 1 column. I'll read a little bit. Background. The realm of mankind is narrow and constricted. Always the forces of chaos press upon its borders, seeking to enslave its populace, rape its riches, and steal its treasures. If it were not for a stout few, many in the realm would indeed fall prey to the evil which surrounds them. Yet there are always certain exceptional and brave members of humanity, as well as similar individuals among its allies, dwarves, elves, and halflings, who rise above the common level and join battle to stave off the darkness which would otherwise overwhelm the land. That's Gary Gygax's writing. He's a good writer. He definitely has earned the moniker Gygaxian Prose. But I think he's good. He was a really good writer. There's lots to comment about Gary Gygax. Basically, he wrote Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, but that's not the way he played Dungeons and Dragons. They were trying to streamline play, so a person from California could go to New York and play with D&D people, and it would basically be the same game. But everyone has their house rules. The game is designed to be a house rules fun adventure thing. Wandering monsters near the keep on the Borderlands. I've always been confused about wandering monsters, both in dungeons and in the wilderness, because I could never figure out why they were there in the first place. And I've mentioned this before, that the game EverQuest online was the first demonstration of what wandering monsters actually would look like in a situation. They just show up. They're just there for whatever reason. The companion book to The Keep on the Borderlands. And all these articles are for free. Mystic Manor. So if I find a YouTube person that I'm really impressed with, I will put him on my Patreon page just because I dig him or her. And this guy, he does the most amazing research. So, for example, he uses the AI images and photos, but then he spends weeks on doing all the appropriate research. And this research on Peter Pan is done exclusively from the book, just not really caring about whatever movie form it took. And he tells you why Peter Pan even exists in the first place. Oh, he did such a good job. Mystic Manor on YouTube. Not that he needs my help to promote him, but I just want to recognize what a great YouTuber he is. Stop saying you're pretty. Say this and she'll want you bad. So this video is on YouTube. And this Patreon page is rated G. But this video is on YouTube, so it's rated G too. To find a woman or not. I wrote some comments. So you can read that for free. Conan the Barbarian, I'm a big fan. I prefer an American author, since Robert E. Howard was from Texas. That's the proper voice that should read Conan. But British people, they love Conan. They really do. So I do listen to British people reading Conan stories. And some of them are good, and some of them it just doesn't feel right. Same with H.P. Lovecraft. There are British people who love him, but it's properly read by someone from the East Coast. Someone from Massachusetts or Rhode Island. I like Stephen King's reading voice. I would listen to him read H.P. Lovecraft. What I like about Stephen King is often he will read his own stories. And he's a very comfortable reader of his own work. One of the best. It's always a joy to hear the author read his own work, just because he knows what the tonal and fluctuations are. I did try and listen to Jodie Foster reading Contact by Carl Sagan. I couldn't listen to more than 5 minutes of that. Though Sissy Spacek, if you can find it on YouTube, did a really marvelous reading of Carrie by Stephen King. She did a really good job, and it works since she was, of course, the star of that movie. Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, I watched some of this video, and I've never played Baldur's Gate. I'm just fascinated because for many years I didn't even know it had a thing to do with D&D. Okay, load more. It's a load. Share the load. That's the funniest Sam line. Where the camera focuses in on his mouth. Share the load. That line has some connotations that I'd talk about, but this is a rated G video. The Keep on the Borderlands, the Goblin Water. I just have been looking for a series of D&D videos where they're actually playing the first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and they're just playing it the way the game is supposed to be played. And I am hard pressed to find it. I'm still looking. There are good tries. And you watch these videos and D&D just doesn't even seem that fun to play. It's a time waster and takes hours and hours to hardly get anywhere. The Catcher in the Rye full audiobook. I listened to the entire thing. And I have listened to books read by AI. And some of it is very listenable. Not all of it, of course. It's hard to read a book out loud if you've ever tried. Your throat gets dry. Your vocal cords get tired. But this one I really enjoyed. I hadn't listened to it in a long time. And then I wrote about it. Friday, February 21st, 2025. I do a lot of diary entries because that's what I do. Creating your own path. Sometimes I just put a picture up and write. Charles Bukowski, one of my favorites. That's a good video. I watched the whole thing. I'm a fan. I have fond memories of reading Post Office and Women. And then Twin Peaks. I saw the movie twice, Fire Walk with Me, in the theaters, but I never really watched the TV show, so I'm looking forward to finding Twin Peaks on DVD and watching the series from scratch. It's all new to me. I like Fire Walk with Me. It's a horror movie. And I am a Woody Allen fan, and I'm proud to say that. I had never seen The Front. It was actually a good movie. And he does a good job in it. Snoopy, It Was a Dark and Stormy Night. We used to own this book when I was a kid. Good reading. Charles Schultz. Always surprises. He's a talented man. This video I got fooled by. I thought it was real, but it's an AI story. When I first saw this, I thought it was real. But now I know that it's not. It seemed plausible. I enjoyed it, and then other videos like that kept popping up, and it made me think, uh-oh, I've been fooled. Yet again, Sunday, January 26, 2025. I'm interested in robot technology. There's a lot being done with that. And I gotta keep that rated G. I don't swear on Patreon. I censor myself so I don't get into trouble. So there's all these AI videos, as you know. I like a lot of them. Alright. Follow your heart, my brother John says. And I tried to listen to this Rubber Soul version as if it was done in Motown style. I couldn't get through it. I'd rather just listen to the original songs. And they did a Nirvana one as if Nirvana was a band from the 60s. Same here. Queedles and Bean. Yeah, I just listen to one song and that's all I can handle. The Beatles' best performance ever. My brother says, very fun to watch. He's the only one that comments on my Patreon page because I scared away the other 2 people who used to comment. I want people to write complete sentences and use proper pronunciation. Beyond earth and touching heaven. In high school, the teacher would say, well, that's a fragmentary sentence. It's not a sentence. Beyond earth and touching heaven. To fix that, you could put 3 dots after it and complete the thought. He comments on my stuff. I don't know why. He could just tell me in chat what he's thinking about, but that's a whole other story. David Lynch. So I was watching a lot of David Lynch material. I watched the video and thought of the fires. It's really tragic about the LA fires. A print of my Popeye painting sold. So this is an example of someone purchased a print of my Popeye painting, acrylic on canvas. So I sold that off of Fine Art America. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I'd kill to see that movie again. Okay. I like this guy a lot. He's great. What's his name? Stephen A. It's been weeks since I thought of him. Load more. So I got a lot of content here. This video actually got 102 hits so far, which was amazing at the time. Now I get 100 hits on a lot of videos. But when I made this on January 10th, it was the starting of people actually paying a little attention to me on YouTube, which I have thoroughly enjoyed since. I like having an audience. See, you find out all the things that I like on my Patreon page. I'm a big fan of Red Letter Media, and if you haven't checked them out, I recommend it. They're my boys. They're really great. Jay, Mike, and Rich.